People of Reddit who have been in a coma for a long period of time, what news really shocked you when you found out what happened? I was in a coma for 2.5 months in 2015 when I was 27 following a serious car accident. When I woke up I still had a tracheotomy and couldn't speak. I don't remember a damn thing from the time I was in a coma, but what blew my mind is when I woke up my new boyfriend at the time was standing there with my parents and they were chatting to each other like they knew each other. I am a super private and had made every effort for them to not even know of him, so I found this disturbing. I also had no recollection of the accident for months, and for a week or two after waking up I had to be retold where I was and what had happened every time I dozed off and woke up. I had no idea where I was and I thought I was 23, not 27 for months. I also had a really hard time recognizing faces. Like I would see people I knew that I knew, but I couldn't remember why or their names or anything, they would just look familiar. One time about a month after I had woken up, my parents took me in my hospital bed for a walk in the courtyard of the hospital. We passed a large mirror in the lobby and I freaked out. I saw my reflection and I knew it was me because I recognized my parents pushing the bed, but I didn't recognize my own face. There were no injuries to my face or anything, I just didn't recognize myself. It also blew my mind that I had gone into the coma in late winter and there was quite a bit of snow on the ground, and when I woke up it was spring and there was no snow. I had a large window in my hospital room. The news that shocked me the most was the fact that my parents had gone in and packed up my entire apartment. Like I mentioned, I was super private, and the idea that they went in there and boxed up all my stuff and gave up my lease was hard to grasp. Obviously it made sense, but I was troubled by it. Open to questions. Does 3 weeks count as a long time? I was in a motorcycle accident, was out for 3 weeks, woke up as the person I am today, not really as the person before, although I have a few of his memories. Found out that my hippocampus was damaged, so that accounted for the memory loss. I woke up, remember a lot of school stuff and things I read before, but had a very hard time remembering, knowing people, didn't totally recognize my dad, had no idea who my mom was. I was apparently dating a really pretty girl, but I have no idea who she was, no memory of her. We tried to make it work, but it was too weird, the old me was too different from the new me, and I felt no connection to her. I did become really good at philosophy and logic after I woke up, ended up going to college to study it, got a year left before I can lecture in it as well, so I guess that's a plus. It's still weird, sometimes people will approach me and greet me, they know so much about me but I have no idea who they are. I usually have to explain to them what happened, and things get a little weird sometimes, but usually end up remaking a friend. Edit, good lord, this blew up. I'm going through all of the replies now, trying to reply to everyone in a timely manner. Edit 2, wow, a silver. Whoever out there was so kind to give me this silver, thank you so much. I never thought I'd get something as nifty as this, definitely made my day. Edit 3, OMG, another silver. You guys are really nice, thank you so much. And don't mind asking question at all, I love talking with everyone, I like the challenge of trying to explain it all. Edit 4, and a gold. Whoever blessed me with that gold, thank you so much. I'll be sure to pay it forward. That it isn't like you see in movies, nothing happens when you're in a coma. Your brain just shuts off. You know when you're little and you stay the night at a friend's house? When you wake up you can't remember where you're at and get nervous for a second until you remember. That's exactly what it feels like to wake up from a coma, but it never finally clicks. I woke up from a 2-month coma after a bad wreck where I broke my neck, hip, couldn't walk, etc. I could tell I was in the hospital but didn't know why or what happened. For some reason I thought I was 60, and I had been comatose for 30 years. In fact I had been in a coma for 2 months and was in my late 20s. Doctors are amazed I survived a 2-month coma, which is very unlikely, so this may be the longest period of time you'll get a legit answer. But of course people always have stories that are like, my cousin was in a 3-year coma and said. However, it's insanely rare that people will wake up after even months. I'm an open book, so any other questions, ask. You forgot the fucking serious tag. #edit, thanks for the like and silver. You guys are the best. My grandpa's biggest shock waking from a coma was the news he wasn't in Spain. He was hit by a car near his house, England, and a lot of the nurses in ITU were Spanish and he caught their accent and thinks they sometimes spoke to each other in Spanish. They aren't meant to, we don't care. He had excellent care, and maybe when he started opening his eyes briefly he saw their skin tone. He couldn't understand how he had got to Spain. When he was coming around he was getting distressed. We kept telling him he was okay, he was in hospital and the tube was helping him breathe. We forgot to share the news you have not left the country. He was also shocked to find his feet hadn't been amputated, his feet and ankles weren't injured, about the only bit of him which wasn't, but somehow in the coma he thought they were. When fully conscious he was shocked at the football results. I woke up on carriage with some others guys and one of them said to me, "Hey, you're finally awake." I'm not one, but when my husband came out of a long period of unconsciousness in the hospice he thought that the footstool was a dog and kept patting it. We all played along and called it a good boy for the rest of the time there. You won't find many, if any, real replies to this. The truth is, people who have been in a coma for a long time wake up brain damaged. The trope of waking up after years of being in a coma and being okay is not something that happens in real life. Someone who has been in a coma for years will wake up a vegetable. My husband was in coma for 4 weeks, lots of brain damage. He woke up to a full wall documenting our relation, trips, wedding pics of our kids. The 2 kids scared the shit out of him. But he remembered me. When I was a kid I was messing around in our house that was under construction. I fell through the open floor to the floor below. My brother saw me land on my head and called 911. I woke up the next day watching TV and eating Teddy Grahams in the hospital. Then I don't remember anything until a few days later when I was at home. My parents said I was never unconscious because I was complaining the entire time, and I was able to eat and use the restroom on my own, but I don't remember a thing. I'm colorblind where I have a hard time seeing green, it comes across as blue, gray, or brown most of the time. Yellow and purple are also hard for me. I didn't actually realize I was colorblind for a few years. I found out that the type 1 HAV can be caused by head injury. I don't know if 6 months counts as a long time in this context, but that's about how long I was in a coma. The most shocking thing, naturally, was being told the date. The last date I remembered was sometime in September, and I was being told it was March of the following year. I was in denial of this for several months, to the point of refusing to believe it was my birthday in the spring and insisting it must be Halloween, the only feasible holiday I could think of for roughly around the time I had been awake based on my last date that I knew. So my family had to tell me the cake they brought me was to celebrate Halloween instead of my birthday, otherwise I would freak out on them. Complicating this was the fact I lost my sight in this ordeal, so this all seemed like some weird trippy dream for me that I could not wake up from. I couldn't tell you when it finally sunk in that the date was really 6 months beyond what I had remembered, but it was a trip, all the same. Edit, I clarified the cake thing, as people were wondering how I could know it was a Halloween cake if I was blind. It was more about me insisting the cake was for celebrating Halloween and not my birthday, as I was stuck thinking it was October when it was really 6 months later. Not coma, but an anesthesia experience. I remember waking up with a really hard erection, tried standing up, almost fell over, the girl tried to catch me and I said, "I got this." Then I stumbled into the hallway and passed out. I don't know if this counts because it was only 3 weeks, but I was so shaken when someone put on the TV and it was a newsreel about a festival in a town over. I wasn't even going to go. I just felt so weird because this was still like 3 weeks away, you know? This can't be on TV? Did I just miss 3 whole weeks? Ow shit, WTF happened? I was in a coma? Oh yeah, something bad happened to me. What happened? Explosion? I'm not going into the details of the accident, but it was an explosion on the work floor that threw a piece of metal straight towards me, tried to catch it my arms and then my face. Didn't catch it, the wall did though, and it had a huge hole in it. Still don't get how I didn't die that day. I destroyed my upper and lower jaw, my arm, pinky, and burned most of my limbs, mostly second degree, so that wasn't really the problem. The problem was the jaws and the arm. My jaws were completely shattered into more than 100 pieces. The doctor told me he had to put pieces of bone in random places because he couldn't find the right spot they came from. Lost most of my teeth, about 3/4 of them. My lower lip was ripped off and was just hanging by one blood vessel and a few nerves. After 10 years I still don't have all feeling back, but that's the new normal, so I don't really notice anymore. And the arm was broken on the lower half, both bones snapped like little trees and one of the bones sticking out of a gaping wound. Fun times. Thanks for watching. What would be your response? Leave it in the comments and see what the others say. Please also like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, take care.